So, today I am going to discuss ethics, syllabus and question paper analysis. Last 3-4 years, the reforms changes happened very recently. From 2014 only we came across the ethics question paper. The ethics question paper, before that there is no ethics question paper. Why? Because the UPSC felt, the central government felt, and we also believe, everyone believe that there is a requirement of ethics in public servants, in people in general and public servants in particular. So on this particular context, ethics GS4 for 250 marks was being inculcated. So now we will be discussing about the complete syllabus. So in the UPSC notification itself, clearly they mentioned about the paper, the ethics paper includes questions to test the candidate's attitude and approach to issues relating to integrity, probity in public life and problem solving approach to various issues and conflicts faced by him or her in dealing with the society. So questions may utilize the case study approach to determine these aspects. The following broad areas will be covered under this. So means UPSC had clarity. So it's about how you are inculcating integrity, how you are inculcating probity, how you are inculcating the ethical values, the moral values, the beliefs, the systems, the customs, the traditions, the values, how you are inculcating in particular public servant, so that this public servant will be helping for the public interest, will be working for the public interest, but not for the self-interest, but not for the vested interests. That is the clarity in very clearly they mentioned in the UPSC notifications. It's very clear. So the paper includes questions to test the candidates' attitude, how his attitude is there, how his approach is there towards the integrity, towards the probity, what is his approach, what is his plan, what is his thought process, what is his thought process for this sort of money making things, this sort of illegal activities, this sort of unethical attitudes, this sort of immoral activities. So we will be having one specific approach. So that approach they want to study. That approach they want to test. Who? UPSC mains examination. That is the reason. So I will test those students. I will test now itself that how he is having his approach towards the corruption free environment, red tapeism free environment, nepotism free environment, politicization free environment, neutrality environment, unbiased environment. So whether he is having these qualities or not, I need to test it. That is what this paper was been inculcated. And issues, how he had a broad issue with respect to the society, mainly with respect to unethical attitudes, mainly with respect to immoral attitudes, the test is all about. So in this way, the UPSC pattern, the UPSC notification itself, they clearly materialized, they clearly mentioned ethics and human interface, essence and determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, ethics in private life and ethics in public life. So in personal life, what type of ethics the individual is having, and how the individual is having ethics in the public life when he become a bureaucrat, what type of ethical values he is having. What are the ethical determinants, the values, the integrity, the selflessness, the objectivity, the accountability, the responsibility, the answerability. These are called as the essence of ethics. If these all are present, then ethics the man is called as ethical man. If these all are present, the man is called as ethical man. So we will be testing all these things. Ethics in private and public relations, human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great personalities like Vivekananda or Ambedkar or Gandhi. What the lessons we learn from Nelson Mandela? So how we can show to the examiner, that I am well read. I know the lives, the events, the great achievements, the accomplishments of the philosophers, of the moral thinkers, of the great freedom fighters, who is having the ethical values, who is having the moral values. In their life, we are taking some examples. We are taking some cases, case to case basis, and we are writing in our answer. Not only in the exam point of view, which should be inculcated in our life as well. So what you learned from the lives of Mother Teresa, from the lives of Ambedkar, from the lives of Jawaharlal Nehru, from the lives of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, or from the lives of any person, Aurobindo, what we learned and how we are applying it, what we learned. So in a particular context, we have to remember, in this context, I am taking the example of Aurobindo. I am taking the example of Swami Vivekananda. So several people, the thinkers, the moral thinkers, how we are bringing up and how we are writing in the particular question, in a particular answer for a particular question, that is very, very important. So we need to know about these moral thinkers, leaders, reformers and administrators, role of family, society and educational institutions in inculcating values. Yes, nowadays values are degenerated. So what is the role played by the family? Yes. If you see any sexual assault on the woman, when you study the family state, when you study about the family brought up, the nature and nurture of that particular accused who did that sexual assault, you will understand the background, the social background, the economical background, the culture, the society where he brought up, which is responsible for that heinous crime. So this family's role is there, the society role is there, the locality role is also there. So what is the role played by the family, the locality, the neighborhood in respect to inculcating the values? That also we need to understand. We cannot deny, yes, 100% we cannot deny. Compulsory there will be the role of the family. Compulsory there will be role of the neighborhood. Compulsory there will be role of the society. The second dimension, attitude. What is the attitude? What is the attitude? Content and structure. Content and structure of the attitude. Functions, its influence and relation with thought and behavior. Yes, attitude. What type of attitude? If an old lady came near an IAS officer, he is very busy in going near minister's meeting. So the old lady who is coming for pension, she is asking about the query about her pension. So what type of attitude you had towards her? Whether it is sympathetic, whether it is empathetic, whether it is compassionate. Lot of difference is there between sympathy, empathy, compassion. So what the attitude plays a major role. Yes, not only in civil service, anything, the attitude plays a major role. So understanding about the attitude. Attitude, structure, function, its influence and relation with thought and behavior. My behavior will be according to my attitude. Yes. Every individual's behavior will be according to the attitude. My personality is my attitude. Attitude, social influence and persuasion. Aptitude is also. Aptitude, how quick you are with respect to taking decision. So you are busy in going to the ministerial meeting and an old lady came, a senior citizen, in vulnerable condition. So what is the aptitude you had? Whether you are taking care of her personally or whether you are assigning any assistant to her and assigning an assistant to her and knowing about her in phone call. What happened, what you did to her, whether the pension is being made to her or not. So aptitude, how quick you are taking the decision. A district collector is going on. A dead body is there on the footpath. Whether it's a responsibility of the district collector to lift the dead body or what is his aptitude. Immediately he has to call the municipal department. He should make the work to be done. He should not do. Why? Because he's a manager, he is a leader, he is an officer in charge. So he should make the things to need to be happen. That we will be by the aptitude, the knowledge. Foundational values for civil services: integrity, impartiality, non-partisan, being unbiased, neutral. In syllabus only they clearly mentioned. So values for civil services are integrity, strong. What we believe, we stand for that. What I say, I stand for that. That is called as integrity. The word and the actions are coterminous. The words and the actions are same. Integrity. There is no inconsistency between the words and the actions. There is no inconsistency between the words and the actions. Integrity. What he told, he is doing that. Yes. So the same way, a bureaucrat, a civil servant, what is his rule? What is his rule book? What is written about it? What is the code of conduct? And what he is saying and how he is acting. Integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, no political party. Just follow the rule book, follow the rule of law. Objectivity, working for a target. Dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance and compassion. These are the towards the weaker sections. Why? Because he is a public servant. Servant of the public. Public means majority of the people are weaker sections. Majority of the people are underprivileged sections. Majority of the people are disadvantaged sections. Emotional intelligence, how emotional he is. Whether he is an emotional fool or whether he is an emotional intelligent, that is also matters. We are hearing a lot of incidences where an IAS officer or IPS officer is committing suicide. No, emotionally intelligent. How he is emotionally intelligent, how he is taking the decisions. What made him to make the grave decisions of committing suicide? That means I'm not criticizing the people who are doing suicide. That means they should be emotionally competent. Being a civil servant, he should be emotionally competent. Why? Because he is going to rule a district. He is going to administer a district. So how much emotionally competent he need to be? That is what we need to know about the emotional intelligence. Concepts and their utilities and applications in administration. It is with respect to applications in administration and governance. Contributions of moral thinkers and philosophers from the India and the world. Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, what these people told. Moral philosophers. You have to make a note. Proper notebook you have to make, First thing what we have to do with respect to ethics is don't depend on PDFs. Ready-made available PDFs don't depend. Don't depend on textbooks. Buy textbooks. Important textbooks. Buy. PDFs, download it. But make your own notes topic wise, syllabus wise. Attitude means you should have minimum 5 pages of information. Attitude means this. Example of attitude is this. Positive attitude, what it did. Negative attitude, what it did. Aptitude, what is aptitude? Attitude is different, aptitude is different. What is aptitude? What is the characteristics of aptitude? The positive of aptitude, the negative of aptitude, yes. Sometimes the attitude also, I'm very straightforward. I'm an IAS officer, but I'm very straightforward. I had an attitude. You went near a minister and you are talking whatever you want. That is a wrong attitude. Balanced attitude. Yes, you are being correct. You are being true. You are being truthful to yourselves. You are being selflessness. But still, attitude. How you are emotionally competent is also enough. Do the duty without any emotional attachment. Yes, that is attitude. How you behave in the particular situation is called as aptitude. Interpersonal relationship is called as aptitude. Aptitude is not just related to education. Aptitude is not just related to how you are doing mathematics or reasoning questions. No, aptitude is how you are behaving situationally. How you are maintaining interpersonal relations. An IAS officer required this. Contributions of moral thinkers. Public and civil services, values and ethics in public administration. Status and problems. Ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions. Yes. We have a lot of examples. Recently one IAS officer from Telugu states. A very good example. Jelly Kirti, I know her personally. Her marriage she sacrificed. She did her marriage at Assam. Why? Because Assam was been affected by floods. She persuaded her husband to come there. Yes. Public interest or private interest. Everyone want to make their marriage event a very grand. Everyone. But there is a sacrifice. They are sacrificing their private interest for the public interest. So, We are giving highest importance to the public interest. We are giving highest importance to the societal goods. We are giving highest importance to the community people, for community rights, for the community benefit. Consigns and sources of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, ethical issues in international relations and funding also. Now, recently, Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Act 2020 happened, which regulating international funding. Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010 Act was been amended in 2020. Total foreign contribution was been totally controlled because of the negative things which happened with respect to Greenpeace, an international NGO. So there is a need for ethics in international funding, in working of NGOs, in working of civil society organizations. Yes, these are all part and parcel of public administration. These are part and parcel of your governance procedure. Corporate governance, buzzword, corporate governance. Probity in governance, concepts of public service, philosophical basis of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in government. What? When I am open, just think, when I am open, everything is open book, then anyone can trust me. Similarly, anyone can trust you when you are open book, when you are clear. Everyone know about you. That person is an open book. That person is an open book man. He is transparent, accountable. Why? Because there is nothing to hide. When you can be that much transparent means when you are unbiased, when you are not bending for corruption, when there is no red tapeism, when there is no partisanship. So, any governance demands transparency and accountability. Transparency and accountability. The Nolan Committee also told the same thing. The 7 principles of governance, which is told by the Nolan Committee. Basis of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in government, right to information, codes of ethics, codes of conduct, citizen charters, work culture, quality of service delivery, utilization of public funds, challenges of corruption. Citizens' grievances redressal mechanism bill 2011, citizen charters. Right to information 2005. Santanam Committee on Corruption. Corruption Act, Corruption Amendment Act, Lokpal Act, Lokpal and Lokayukta Act. About CBI, about CVC. Institutions. We need to have meticulous information, not just information, a case study we need to have. We need to have an example, a clear-cut example. How these institutions are responsible for degeneration of corruption in the departments. A case study, an example, just have an idea. So what are the CBI cases which are related to corruption? What are the CVC cases which are related to corruption? Just make 4 examples. According to the demand of the question, take the answer and write. Take the answer and write. See, ethics paper is all about how much limited content you had. How much limited, I am telling. How much limited content you had, but how much skill you have. Skill means how you are using these examples. How you are using these case studies. How you are using these research studies. Accordingly you have to use. Accordingly you have to use. Second Administrative Reforms Commission, the best book. I can refer it as a textbook. Second Administrative Reforms Commission. Citizen-centric administration report 4. Everything at one particular place. What are the mistakes in Indian administration? What are the solutions in Indian? How we can address those problems? And the recommendations of the Second Administrative Reforms Commission. Without reading the Second Administrative Reforms Commission original report, your preparation for ethics is incomplete, which will also useful in your GS2 governance topic. Read Second Administrative Reforms Commission original report. How you have to make the notes, I will tell you. How you have to make the notes, I will tell you. I will bring my notes, 1 minute. How you have to make the notes, I will tell you. See, this is my notes which I made. So, which was been made in the year 2011. Which will be useful for you also. Make a handwritten notes. Make a handwritten notes. All the committee recommendation, AD Gorwala, first Apple Bay, second Apple Bay, first ARC recommendation, second Administrative Reforms Commission, first report, right to information. Just open the page. Each report, for example, each report, fifth report is there, fourth report is there. Make a handout, make a write up. Oh, this is the content, this is the information. Like that. Sixth report, seventh report, ninth report, social capital. If you make like that, what are all the commissions you have to make, you know? What are all the commissions you have to make? You have to make the committee recommendations of AD Gorwala, first Apple Bay report, second Apple Bay committee of 1956, first ARC recommendations of 1966, second Administrative Reforms Commissions of 2006, and local governance committee recommendations, 7th Central Pay Commission, 6th Central Pay Commissions, and pay commissions, important points, National Commission on Review of Working of the Constitution, Sarkaria Commission on Center-State Relations, Santanam Committee on Corruption, FRBM also, 13th Finance Commission, 14th Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission, Foreign Policy, and now FCRA. Why? Because Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Act 2020 is there. Everything you make a handwritten notes, which I made this in 2011. Now everything changed. 1 decade happened. How much more you have to make for your... This is for governance. The same will be useful for your ethics paper. So in this way, first of all, I recommend you strongly. First of all, I recommend you strongly for making a fine notes for your ethics, your own notes, handwritten notes. Don't depend on ready-made sources. For ethics, at least. We will see some previous questions. Ethics and human interface, essence, determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions. Dimensions of ethics, ethics in private and public relationship. How the questions are there? First question. What are the basic principles of public life? What are the basic principles of public life? Illustrate any three of this with suitable example. What are the basic principles of public life? Illustrate any three of this. 7 principles of public life. Very famous these are. Selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, leadership. Take 3. Take any 3. Just explain it. Discipline generally implies following the order and subordination. However, it may be counterproductive for the organization. Yes. So we think that discipline, if my subordinate is there, whether he is listening me blindly, I feel he is disciplined. Whether it is productive to the organization, whether it is productive to me. It is productive to me. He is satisfying my ego. Whether he is satisfying the organizational goals. What the officers believe, what the higher echelons will believe. Least bothered about organizational goals. I am bothered about my duty, whether he is doing or not. The duty which I am assigning him, whether he is doing or not. What is the structure of the Indian bureaucracy? A rigid system. A rigid hierarchy. All the bureaucrats in the higher echelons, they believe, they want their subordinate to follow him, not the organizational goals. He thinks that anyhow I will be working for organizational goals. I will be planning accordingly. If he listen to me, it's enough. Whether it is counterproductive, yes, 100%. But answer should be balanced. It doesn't mean that the subordinate should disobey the higher echelons. No. So a balanced answer should come out. Why? Because finally, for a bureaucrat of higher echelon, higher order or a lower order, for both of them, what is important? For both of them, what is important? Organizational goals is important. Both should work hand in hand for organizational goals. The same. Discipline is a practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. Discipline involves obeying, respect for authority and observance of established principles and rules. But too much discipline leads to moral corruption, kill creativity and eccentricity, too much suppression, ego, etc. Discipline should be effectively practiced to keep the innovation within ourselves alive. And mainly they have to work for what? Organizational goal. Both are subordinate to the department. Both are subordinate to the organization. The higher officer should also feel that yes, he is my subordinate. Doesn't mean that he is my worker. He is not my worker. We both are working together for the organizational goal. We both are working for an objective. That is the essence of the question. First, the biggest problem in ethics paper will be understanding the question. Understanding the question. The crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of the good life. The crisis of ethical values in modern times is traced to a narrow perception of the good life. See, we want a good life. Aramsa life. Prashantanga undali. Aramsa life. Without any hindrances. If I keep one signature, he will go. Let it be. This tension will not be there. That type of approach we people are having nowadays in the modern life. Discuss. In modern times, there is a crisis of social, moral, cultural, economical and political values at all levels. There is a crisis at all the levels, at moral levels. Inconsistent with the values, I will be joining the organization with some belief, with some hopes, with some values. But in reality, what will happen? There will be inconsistency with the values. For what? For good life. The narrow perception of the good life can be seen through the belief that materialistic things like huge money, good house, modern luxuries, etc. are the signs of a good life. What our parents will tell, I am sure. 90% of the families, 90% of the parents, my parents also told me the same. No need to work that much hard. Have a wife, children, house, car, good life, what do you want more? Why you are worried about values, or why you are worried about morals, or why you are worried about ethics? Everyone is living like that only, no? Why? Because we had a perception of a good life. This is good life. But our moral thinkers and philosophers had mentioned the good life means living for the values, living for the morals. Dying for the good thoughts. That is good life. Yes, I might face a lot of struggles, but that is good life for me. I am being what I am. I am not being inconsistent with the values. I am being consistent with the values. That is good life. So when we believe this is good life. Nowadays what happened, if you see into the 100 bureaucrats, if one bureaucrat is there who is not taking the corruption, everyone will pinpoint that person. What he need more. What more respect he want, what more Bharat Ratna he want. In 100 bureaucrats, one bureaucrat was been identified, that person is uncorrupted person. What respect any person can earn from? Is it not? So understanding should, we have to involve in ethics. In order to get good marks in ethics, really you should have ethics. You have to involve in ethics. You have to feel the ethics. You should feel that yes, I have ethics, then 100% the answer will come correct. 100% you can write. You should feel it. In modern times, people running behind them think about the ends and not the means of getting them. In our ancient India only, we had a discussion about Dharma Vijaya and Digvijaya. You can write this point. Dharma Vijaya, the means. The process is important, not Digvijaya. Final victory is not important. Don't bother about the end. You do your means. Nishikama Marga, do your duty. Obviously, you will get the fruits. You do your karma following Dharma principle. Obviously, you will get the moksha. Here, moksha is what? Good life. What is good life? Maintaining Dharma in all my activities. Having Nishkama Karma. Middle path of Buddhism also, it is not applicable here. No. Radical. Value oriented. Moral oriented. Buddhism middle path will not work here. Radical. Yes, values means values. Morals means morals. Honesty means honesty. Objectivity means objectivity. Why some bureaucrats are resigning? Because they cannot compromise, they cannot choose middle path. They are, yes, I came into service for this, but if you are not allowing me to do this service, I will go out and wherever I am, I will do my values. I will follow my values. Why? Because for me, good life is that. In that way, the understanding should be. This narrow perception of good life has been a leading factor contributing towards our societal people, our neighborhood, our friends, our relatives. So that we need to understand first what is good life in this question. Similarly, from this topic, human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders. Question, what do each of the following quotations mean to you? An unexamined life is not worth living. An unexamined means unevaluated life is not worth living. Everyone should be evaluated. Everyone is not absolute. North Korean president is an absolute. He should be also evaluated. There should be a democratic procedure. Democratic procedure means what? Evaluation is happening of the political leader. When evaluation is happening, what will happen? Accountability will be there. The words were spoken by Socrates at his trial after he chose death rather than excel. They represent the noble choice, that is the choice of death in the face of an alternative meaning that an unexamined human life is deprived of the meaning and purpose of existence. Yes, there is a need for accountability, there is a need for evaluation, there is a need for performance appraisal, public administration point of view, governance point of view, an IAS officer point of view. What? Performance appraisal. I am having one employee, for example, his performance is, I am not appraising, then whether his performance will increase next time. Similarly, example I took, that is an example. Similarly, it might be ethics, it might be values, it might be morals, it should be examined. A man is but a product of his thoughts. What he thinks he becomes. You know, what he thinks he becomes. I am not capable of IAS exam. I cannot become an UPSC. I am not suitable for this examination. You will not become. I am the purpose. I am the matter for civil services. Then you will become. It means actions of a person are largely determined by thoughts. Just like calmness and compassion makes a person a saint, while violence and anger can make him a criminal, hence a commitment, value-oriented life makes a man an ethical public servant. So what you think, you will become. Same what I told you, the same statement. If you really have ethics, 100% the ethics marks will be very well. It should be part of our life with some basic knowledge, with some education, some good points, some collection of notes. Artificially will not come. Artificially never it will come. Some lucky people will get, but artificially it will not happen. Where there is a richness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. Where there is a beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. Righteousness is the quality or state of being morally correct and justifiable. It shows that ethics, morals and values in a person can contribute towards building a peaceful and happy world. Example, a righteous person can never be a terrorist and will always believe in peace. Yes. In Libya, there is one freedom fighter called as Omar Mohammed in Libya. You know, he was being harassed like anything by the foreign powers in Libya. Why? Because Libya was also colonized. Omar Mohammed, a freedom fighter, a popular freedom fighter, Islamic freedom fighter in Libya. He was tortured like anything. At the end of the death also, the Omar Mohammed told that the Libya is for Libyans. He didn't took any terrorist activities, just his slogans. So what he believed, he followed it at the time of the death also. What do each of the following quotations mean to you in the present context? The true rule in determining to embrace or reject anything is not whether it has any evil in it, but whether it has more evil than good. There are few things wholly evil or wholly good. Almost everything, especially of a government policy, is an inseparable compound of the two, so that our best judgment of the preponderance between them is continually demanded. Abraham Lincoln. The focus is on responsible governance. That should be given the topmost priority. Simple. From this total paragraph, what I decoded is it's talking about responsible governance. Responsibility to the people. North Korean president is responsible to none, because of which the state is police state. North Korea. Responsibility should be there. While framing policies and its implementation, the government should make more efforts towards public service and welfare and reduce the demerits like corruption, deforestation, displacement of tribals, accurate market price for agriculture land to farmers. This all should go hand in hand. Similarly, anger and intolerance are the enemies of correct understanding. Anger and intolerance are the enemies of correct understanding. Who is my enemy? My anger? No. Who is my enemy? My intolerance? No. That is the correct understanding. True. Well said, Mahatma Gandhi. Take one example and write. How much ethical you are, but you are intolerant, you cannot control your anger. If you are unable to control your tolerance, finish. Out of the game. Means you are emotionally incompetent. You are emotionally incompetent. We need to have our self-control. The biggest control is what? Swami Vivekananda told the same thing. The biggest control is self-control. You control yourself, then the world, it means you control the world. Controlling ourselves is controlling the world. True. Is a disposition to appreciate or share the feelings of thoughts of others. A character. Disposition means a character. Anger and intolerance reduce such ability of correct understandings as this make an individual biased, irrational. He will become biased. He will become, at the end, he will become an corrupt person. Falsehood takes the place of truth when it results in unblemished common good. Falsehood takes the place of truth when it results in unblemished common good. Yes. Khalistan movement or Greater Nagaland. If we get a separate country, we are going to have our own autonomy. We are going to have our own sovereignty. Greater Nagaland of Northeast India. What resources you have, what competence you have, what political structure you have. If you give separate country also, how you can establish and how you can protect your people. A falsehood statement that distorts or suppresses the truth in order to deceive. Example, take any example. Example of falsehood taking the place of truth, resulting in unblemished common good is seen when a mother lied to her child by telling him about the imaginary scary characters that would arrive if he did not eat, so that he would get his diet properly. That is contextually correct. But showing the dreams, yes, if this country has been made, then we will have our own autonomy, our own leaders will become our own rulers. But what resources you have, what type of leaders you have, how you will develop the constitution without any practical approach, you are trying to make the falsehood as a truth. Nowadays we are seeing a lot of incidences, a fake IPS officer, a fake IAS officer, showing false as a truth. Means what? Administrator point of view. What I am not, I am trying to showcase it. One or the other point of time, I will be red-handedly caught. So that is what. Be ethical from inside and show ethicals from outside. If you be unethical from inside and show ethical from outside, one or the other day you will find out. Yes or no? So internally and externally should be consistency. Internally and externally should be consistency. There should not be any falsehood becoming the truth. Like that, we need to make the sentences. Numerous sentences make in your notes. These are previous questions. From this, collect some famous statements, famous quotes. Collect famous statements, famous quotes from the moral thinkers, from the moral philosophers across the world. Just sit on it and think for 2 minutes. You will get idea. Talk to your good teacher. He or she will explain you. Talk to your mentor. Talk to your seniors. Talk to the rankers if possible. But the final and the important thing is, you should have your own notes. Attitude. It's about attitude. Question. Young people with ethical conduct are not willing to come forward to join active politics. Suggest steps to motivate them to come forward. Why? Because they think that politics is dirty. Reason for the unwillingness include belief that nature of politics is dirty, criminalization, illegal practices, scams, defamation. We had this notion. Because of that, the young people are not coming into it. Young people should participate not only in preparing for civil services, they should also participate in politics equally. But there is some notion, there is a prefixed ideas, there is a prejudices. Usko paise chahiye, money is needed, some power is required, some godfather is required. No. Ways to motivate the youngsters include conducting debate, discussions or mini parliament sessions in schools, colleges, secondary level, including achievements of good leaders in textbooks, involving youth in campus politics and public welfare through trainings, etc. Then the people will come and join young people will come and join the politics. When young people join the politics, obviously, those are the people who are going to run the next game. It's a current affair thing. It's a current affair from long 50 years, it's a current affair. Expected question. Emotional intelligence. Question. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your own emotions work for you instead of against you. Work for you. My boss is scolding me. My boss is scolding me. I also started scolding him. Finish. Who will be at the loss? I will be at the loss. Why? Because I am his employee. It doesn't mean that I have to work him like a slave or try to make him understand, sir, I did like this. But if you scold on him, who will be at the loss? Be practical. That is called as emotional intelligence. The emotional intelligence should work for you, not against you. Do you agree with this view? My example, which I told you, you can take the example. First structure is what? Emotional intelligence, first paragraph definition, second paragraph emotional intelligence characteristics, and third paragraph, take an example. Not this example, take any standard example. Take any standard example. Of any person's life, from any person's life, any moral thinker, philosopher, the great personalities, like take any example and quote it onto it. Ashok came ka IAS officer. If he thought that these people are doing transfer to me, I will put the case in Central Administrative Tribunal, or I will take action against them, or I will resign. Who will be at the loss? Means he is emotionally intelligent. They are transferring him, he is going, but he is working with his values. He is inconsistent with the values, because of which he became popular India-wide. He became popular because of his values, consistency with the values. Emotional intelligence. Civil servants have to perform work with calmness, restricting the overflowing of their emotions and keeping their temperament under control. On the other hand, emotional intelligence helps them to control themselves from becoming anxious, frustrated, discouraged, frustrated. Yes, true. We have to control ourselves. So being in a civil servant, what is required? We have to control our frustration, anxiousness, being calm, being balanced. What is meant by crisis of conscience? Crisis of conscience means conflict with myself is called as crisis of conscience. Conflict with myself. I don't want to do this thing, but I am forced to do this thing is called as crisis of conscience. One IAS officer was being there in Lakshmi, who got arrested 1 year back in a mining scam. When she arrested, she told that I was being made to keep the signature on the mining block allocations. It was a crisis of conscience for me, but I was being forced. But still, you should be strong. Crisis of conscience, where conflict with myself, I don't want to do, but they are making me to do. Conscience is the inner moral sense of a person which guides him to regulate his behavior. Crisis of conscience occurs when the person is not able to act in the way that is in compliance to our value and principles. In public domain, crisis of conscience happens when a civil servant can't help a old and a poor senior citizen to get the benefit of a scheme because he does not fulfill one out of the other conditions for prevailing the schemes. Yes, that is one example. Similarly, What is meant by conflict of interest? Conflict of interest. My brother did a wrong thing. Whether I have to take the action on him, I have the power to escape him, to hide him. But I am not hiding him, I am making him to follow the rule of law. Conflict of interest, personal interest, public interest. Majorly the dilemma between two, personal interest versus public interest. A conflict of interest occurs when an entity or individual becomes unreliable because of clash between the personal interest and the professional duties. Professional interest, public interest, personal interest. Actual conflict of interest is when a civil servant has to attend his best friend's marriage. Personal interest. But he can't do so because of duty, unable to take leave due to some reasons. Yes, there will be a conflict. Not a friend, sometimes own brother, own sister, own father's events also they will be missing. How many stories we are seeing? That means they are giving importance for the professional ethics. They are giving importance for the public interest. That is a great, such officers are there. Such officers are there in our Indian administration. We should be proud of them. Yes. Who will put the profession first and the personal life second. Yes. Potential conflict of interest is when a civil servant has himself not followed the quarantine. Yes, he himself is COVID example I took. 14-day home quarantine rule of COVID. After coming back from a foreign country, thinking that he is normal. No, he should follow the rule of law. Why? Because it's because of his fault, the lot of people will suffer next. He should follow the quarantine. No, I am going to stay in quarantine, after 14 days I will come. Professional ethics, public interest at the large. And I don't have any disease, I don't have any COVID-19. Personal interest, not bothered about public interest. That is a current example. Mask, I don't have any COVID-19, why I should wear mask? Means you are giving importance for the personal interest. What if you had, we will know only after 14 days, then the public will let loss. That is also a conflict. A personal interest versus public interest. How will you apply emotional intelligence in administrative practice? Emotional intelligence, 2017 question. State the three basic values universal in nature in the context of civil service and bring out their importance. Question: what is meant by public interest? What are the principles and procedures? What do you understood by the statements? Such type of questions are there. So 18, 19, 17 question papers. Contributions of moral thinkers, the questions. Great ambition is a passion of a great character. Those endowed with it may perform very good or very bad acts. All depends on the principles which direct them. Napoleon Bonaparte. Questions, previous year's questions. Examine the relevance of the following in the context of civil service: transparency, accountability, fairness and justice, courage of conviction, spirit of service. These meanings you have to go. You have to understand these meanings in detail. For this, I will recommend you one book. Chronicle, old book is there. Chronicle, old small book is there. In that each and every meaning is given very properly. That book I will recommend. And the second book which I felt very useful and I felt good and useful for civil services examination is D.K. Balaji book. D.K. Balaji IAS book is also good book. These are the two books apart from Second Administrative Reforms Commission, apart from newspapers, apart from case studies, apart from examples. Accountability and ethical. So, international relations, peace and security, corporate governance, corporate social responsibility, probity in governance. Probity in governance. What do you understand by probity? What is probity in governance? What is fortitude in governance? That is also one question which was been asked previously. Information sharing and transparency. Case studies. I also made a case study. I will be sending you this PDF. I will be sending you. Okay. Please go through this. Case studies. How we have to make case studies. how to have a proper, what are the dilemmas you face? Simple, you make a structure. Case study. Answer, when you start the answer for the case study. Given information, side heading. So what are all the information given in the question? Write 1, 2, 3, 4 point wise. These are the information which are given in the case study. Second heading. What are the principles involved? 1, 2, 3, 4 principles involved. Third, what are the dilemmas involved? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth, arguments for, arguments against. Fifth, sixth. Last, your opinion. Conclusion. In that way, you have to break the case study and you have to write the answers. Case study on ethics and human values. You are aspiring to become an IAS officer and you have cleared various stages and how you have been selected for the personal interview now. On the day of the interview, on the way of the venue, you saw an accident where a mother and a child who happened to be your relatives were badly injured. They needed immediate help. That to your relatives. What you are going to do? Personal interest versus human interest. If they are not relatives also, you have to respond. But how? If it is mentioned relatives, if it is not relatives also, you have to respond. Why? Because you are a human being at the end. But how? Like that case studies are there. On attitude, aptitude for each and everything. On attitude, aptitude and foundational values. On public civil services values and ethics in public administration. Public service administration. Yes. On governance. On governance. Yes. In this way, you have to do your ethics preparation.